Anyone who is negative about tariffs simply does not understand the modern world and its modern implications around supply chain, geopolitics, and wealth. Right now, the world is in a somewhat economic crisis, which in my opinion we have been for over a decade, all due supposedly to Trump's tariffs. But what are tariffs and are they actually effective or not? First, let's get rid of the economics. Let's talk about national security. Very basic idea. Do you think even if it's more economically efficient for China to manufacture steel, that the United States should let China manufacture all of our steel? No. The question is, what do we want to manufacture in the United States that is critical for national defense? We should have never let steel be exported, steel manufacturing being exported out of the United States, regardless of what's efficient or not, because that is essential wartime mineral, wartime commodity. You apply that logic and you quickly find out that there's actually a lot of things that we need to manufacture here in the United States if we want to remain independent. Taiwan, being the largest producer of semiconductor chips that are used in the most sophisticated manufacturing processes, is a huge oversight and liability. And one of the reasons that we are trying to solve that now and bring chips to America, it started with the CHIPS Act under Biden, and of course Trump is going to continue that, showing that this issue of tariffs and supply chain actually does cross party lines, even if Democrats don't think it does. But tariffs overall are a rebalancing of national security priorities. But if you want to talk about economics, which a lot of people do, then the other matter of fact is that tariffs are not a tax. They are a redistribution of the wealth from the global populace to the American populace, as it should be. If you're pro-American, you want Americans to be rich, you want Americans to prosper. Right now, you had agreements like NAFTA, which rotted out the American industrial base and put everything overseas, which is a national security liability, cost us jobs here, and essentially turned us into a service economy instead of a manufacturing economy. And of course, these have compounding effects. China is now very good at manufacturing because they've been doing it for so long. And it's going to take a while to bring manufacturing back to the United States because we simply have lost over time some of the essential expertise that would come with manufacturing. But with tariffs, the incentives come to bring that back to the United States, which of course will be a rough start at first because now you have to find American companies willing to do the job. For example, Intel should start producing more chips like they do in Taiwan with the semiconductors. Obviously, that's a complex issue. There's a lot of IP involved, and we can't exactly replicate everything that they're doing immediately, right? But you have to make the investments now. When it comes to steel manufacturing, yes, maybe a lot of the steel manufacturing is overseas, and right now the US only has a few plants. And what's going to happen is all those international corporations that sell to the United States steel, their stock prices are going to go down because of tariffs, but that will be made up over time as the stock prices of American companies that have these factories here go up and start employing more people. The problem is it takes time, which is probably why Trump's doing all of this now. Now, this also disregards the fact that tariffs by and large are a big negotiating tactic. We've seen Trump negotiate with tariffs as far as border security goes and other things that he wants, because the United States is still a large consumer economy, right? So tariffs are a very effective way to pressure nations to do what we want. And Trump has been very good at that. So tariffs are a multifaceted issue, and they're really fun to talk about because at the end of the day, they show you who cares about the long-term maintenance of America. A lot of people who are fine with shareholder capitalism and short-term profits hate the idea of tariffs because all they care about is the here and now. They don't care about the sustainability of a nation long-term. They normally don't care about the youth. They just care about getting rich and spending their money now. Tariffs, by and large, are not just a tax, Republican, Democrat issue. It's also, like many things, a generational issue. And if you are someone who is under the age of 50, who is still going to be living quite some time in the United States of America, you should want tariffs because you should want a longevity of your nation to continue to grow economically and independently. And independence in markets is incredibly important. So the tariff issue, obviously a big deal, and you could go over various examples of how tariffs are good. You could look at washing machines as a classic example, how tariffs don't actually rise prices. And you could look at some other examples too, but washing machines is the easiest one to find. Just note that there is no free trade. It doesn't exist. The US has in fact been taken advantage of on trade policies for quite some time. Everything that the media is going to say is obviously going to try to make Trump look bad. Regardless of what's true though, the stock market and investments are going to react negatively. But remember, stock market and the economy are not the same thing. And it's very possible that what Trump is doing now will continue to tank the stock market, will actually help the economy short-term and long-term, which hopefully will mean the stock market will rebound over time. We will find out.